Ahoy there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to a new Football Talks. I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, hey!
Well, Bill, Week 14's in the books. A lot of things have happened, and the playoff picture is coming into focus, but is still just as shaken up. Let's get started. Let's go to Detroit first, because, Bill, the Lions once again had to play a fourth quarter comeback against a Bears team that I think their defense is the only bright spot they even have.
Oh
However,
yeah,
the
definitely.
Lions did not come out of this unscathed because sure you have DeAndre Levy back and that's good, but Matt Stafford, in his case to make himself MVP this year, has hurt his throwing middle finger,
Yep.
which is not that bad. He's still going to play. However, it is something to note that it could mess with his throwing game, and that is what the Lions need. That is their key to get into the playoffs and to win the division. Don't you agree, Bill?
He's definitely the engine that makes that offense work. But overall, I honestly watching the game after that injury happened, it really didn't seem like he lost any velocity off of the football. He was still throwing footballs really hard. He was still hitting those really strong arm throws. And so really the if you grip a football, really the one that really would probably hurt you the most is the pinky, because the pinky is the last finger that actually touches the football and actually causes uh, the uh, the spiral of the football.
Well, really,
So
you don't want to lose your thumb out of all
yeah,
five.
or I mean, yeah, thumb is immensely important. That goes
I
without.
mean, Bill, have
But
you tried to do anything without your thumb? It is very hard.
it is. But any of the other four, any of the other four, really throwing a football, the pinky is the most important. Really, the middle finger of all of them is probably the least important of all the fingers on your hand throwing a
Yep, and it
football.
should be noted, this was probably one of Stafford's worser games. He got two touchdowns. Yeah, one that he ran in for himself, that was the game winner. But he threw two interceptions, and one of which was his first pick six in the season.
Yep. Well, one of them, I would say the first one was not his fault, and the second one was definitely his fault. You know, the first one was more of a tipped pass rather than, but the second one was just blatantly he should not have thrown that football. But overall, he had a solid performance. He hit Anquan Bolden, got and Anquan Bolden hit a new record for himself. I think that was career completion like number 7,000 or something. It was some career re- reception number 7,000. He was in 10th place all time or something in receiving yards. So he's moving up the list as a Lion. I'm glad. I like Anquan Bolden. I hope the Lions re-sign him back. Just he's a proven winner, you know. And the defense. The defense got DeAndre Levy back. Finally.
Took him long enough.
And he came in and played his game. He didn't come in and he wasn't super rusty. He was playing his game, and that's a very good sign that the Lions are starting to get healthy at the correct time. They're 9-4 with being without a lot of players on defense and offense, and they're starting to get those players back. And just in time for the stretch run against the division.
Yeah.
Well, not well against one more team in the
Well,
division.
I would say more against the conference, against other playoff teams, because, as you know, we have at Giants, at Dallas, then home to Green Bay. Everyone says the game that final game decides everything. I might agree as long as the Packers win their next two, which, as for you and I, Bill, spoiler alert, we're not picking the Packers here because even I could tell you, yeah, these Packers are playing good. You beat a Seahawks team without Earl Thomas, and everyone's all on your bandwagon once again. But you know, we'll get to it later. But just there is still something wrong with Aaron Rodgers. You see it, but you don't want to point it out because either A, you don't want to jinx it, or two, you just think he's that good that he'll just go in at not at 100%, which was totally not the reason why he lost the NFC title game. Well, half the reason. The other half was Mike McCarthy taking his foot off the gas. But you know,
Right.
that's another discussion for another day.
Yeah.
So Bill,
Uh,
my other thing to note, Zach Zenner, you lost another running back. He is out with a concussion right now.
yep.
You are
Uh,
absolutely
yeah.
thin. I don't even know if Amir Abdullah's coming back yet. Haven't heard anything about him being coming off injured reserve or not.
No, I don't think he has. Really, Dwayne Washington, he's been doing some stuff. Theo Riddick, uh, it's just a mess in the Lions' backfield. Really, that is our weak position, but it was weak even when they were all well, not when Amir was healthy, but when the rest of them were healthy, it was kind of weak. When Abdullah was healthy, it was a point of strength. And overall, though, in this game, the Lions were running the football on a Chicago defense that was, decent at stopping the run. So, I mean, there's signs that it's coming around. The offensive line is better than last year tenfold. Um, but the one thing that I'm gonna say, and taking it away from this game that I watched, is there is a beast of a running back that was not a Lion, but in the next 3 years, I'm calling it right now. In the next 3 years, Jordan Howard is going to be one of the top three running backs in the NFL.
Well, bold predictions. Also, Bill, speaking of bold predictions, I was watching this video on the NFL YouTube channel, and someone in the comments, like with a Tom Brady icon, was saying that nobody in their mind, even Lions fans, expected the Lions to play this well. Now, normally I would agree. However, we have video proof that you, Bill, called the Lions going 13-3 this season. While that is now impossible because they've lost 4 games, they could still go 12-4 and be not too far off your prediction. You had them winning the division and clinching a bye, both of which are now within reach. As long as the Lions win out, that dream, Bill, is so much more realistically possible.
Right. And really, the 13-3 prediction was looking at the division that they had to play. And right now, they should be 10-2, right? Or
11 and
10-3
2.
right now. Yeah, 10-3 or 11-2. They should have never lost to Chicago in the first place. They played down to them in the first game. And the second game, the
Titans.
refs absolutely screwed over the Lions, and I will not stop harping on that because that cost us a win. We could be 10-3, and the Packers would need to win out to even have any hope right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to this point that one game with a set of bad referees has determined if Green Bay has even a shot at the division right now, and that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that goes into NFL hypocrisy, which we'll get to later.
Yep. But anyway, Bill, the only last thing to say is that there are a lot of people who still believe that the Packers are going to go into the playoffs with the division crown and
And
possibly
go
secure
nowhere
a
even
bye.
if they do. See, here's my rebuttal to that. The Packers defense is not good. The Packers offense is not good. And the other issue is you have a almost immobile Aaron Rodgers. A mobile Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback in the league. An immobile Aaron Rodgers is not even in the top 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll take my chances with an immobile Aaron Rodgers that is hobbling all over the place, and and they have no running game right now.
Yeah. So basically,
I
Bill, what
mean,
I'm going to be doing is asking for Kerry Hyder to go and sack him 3 times.
I mean, the offensive line for Green Bay is nowhere near what it used to be.
Yeah. So, Bill, I think that these Packers, if they just lose one other game, not counting Week 17, they're out. They could very well miss the playoffs because here's what I could see happening. If they lose any other game minus the Lions game, not counting that one, their chances are real slim as long as A, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the division instead, which would lead to, in turn, the Falcons being a wild card spot. And as well as Washington, who I believe Washington, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay will be those last 3 teams. That means the Giants don't get in. But guess what? If it were the Giants, the Packers would have an edge over them as long as they tied or got a better record than them. Because as I said, winter's coming for the Giants, but because it's those other 2 teams who they've lost to, those 2 will push the Packers out via tiebreaker. So that means the Packers could still not make the playoffs. If they are forced to go for a wild card spot, they can legitimately miss the playoffs, which is, I don't know if that's a first in the Aaron Rodgers era for the Packers, but I feel like it might be. Maybe, I don't know. And I'm not barring injuries. I mean, well, while he's playing, he has not missed a game, he has not missed a start. So this could very well be his first time missing the playoffs with the Packers. And oh boy, I think that'll be fun for the North everywhere.
The Mike McCarthy era would end if that were to occur.
Well, I'm fine with that as long as some coach like a Harbaugh doesn't go over there.
And Harbaugh's not going anywhere.
What was that noise?
I don't know. That's just internet rumors. I mean, every time a coach gets fired in the NFL, oh, Urban Meyer's going to the LA Rams.
Yeah, everyone's saying John Gruden's going, which I think we'll mention the Rams firing their coach later. But yeah, anyway, Bill, I think it's time we move on to. I think this was the biggest surprise of this week. Forget about the Cowboys. No, that one. I wish I stuck with my pick, but that's beside the point. The Texans, I don't know how they did it. They made Andrew Luck actually look bad for once, which they've never done. They have never done. Even with J.J. Watt, with their greatest defenses that they've had before, they have never made Andrew Luck look really this bad at all. He threw 2 interceptions, 1 a pick 6, and I'm impressed. Here's the other fun fact. If you gave Brock Osweiler that touchdown for handing the ball to Lamar Miller, Nick Novak, a kicker, scored more points than Brock Osweiler did. He scored more points than his $72 million quarterback. If I were the Texans, I would still rework that contract. I would rework that contract and eliminate those 2 other years. You can't take out guaranteed money, so just keep next year's price the same. But at least those other 2 years, if it doesn't work out, bam, you're not re-signing him. That's it. He's out.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. But whatever, because I would rather give that money to Hopkins, assuming he wants to stay. But yeah, it was bad because the Texans, Bill, I don't know how they did it. Their offense wasn't exactly mobile in terms of the passing game. The run game, Lamar Miller had 126 yards on the ground. Alfred Blue, I don't know how much he had. I think he had 50 on himself, but that's what won them the game. The fact that they were on the ground, keeping Luck off the field, but also just keeping the clock ticking, and they were putting up field goals to where the Colts could not for the first half of the game. The first half they could only put up 3 points. Then after that, it was Colts looking like they're going to resurge, come back, beat the Texans, and bam, their division once again. But Bill, I'm posting a video I'm going to put a video here in this on the podcast. You won't see it. I can't play it for you right now. Or actually, I could, Bill. I have to go get it from Twitter because, Bill, I don't know if you've ever watched Dragon Ball Z when you were younger, in the days of your youth, but I have a clip that I found, and I think this perfectly encapsulates every Colts fan. And if the Lions win the division and the Packers miss the playoffs, I would lump them as well. So here you go, Bill. Go ahead, watch it, and yeah, I'll be sure to sync it up with your reaction. I don't need to watch it. I've seen it before, so go ahead, just watch it.
Hold up. 1 second. All right. So hold on. It's a loading here. All right. All right. It's a loading. Okay. It's loading and it begins. And that's the scream of not making the playoffs.
Why do I post that video? I'll tell you why. It is because the Colts have always expected to be the AFC South favorites with Peyton Manning and then Andrew Luck. It's like, oh, this is our division. You three are just our stepping stones to securing it. All we need to do is sweep each of you, and we could lose every other game, but we'll still get in because you're all garbage just as much as we are. All we have was a good quarterback. We don't have any real supporting talent on the lines for both sides of the ball in the secondary, and we're still going to make the playoffs. Not this time, Indy. I said you were going to miss the playoffs, and it looks like you are once again. No longer do you just need one good quarterback in this league. You need defense. We're transitioning to a defensive era once again. You need a stellar defense to get to the playoffs and to secure a Super Bowl. Don't believe me? Ask the Seahawks and the Broncos. But anyway, Bill. So yeah, the Colts, I would say, are pretty much out of it. They are not mathematically eliminated, but so many things have to go their way. The Titans need to lose games. The Texans need to lose all their games, which I don't see that happening. And the Colts have to play the Vikings, the Jags, and I forget who's last, actually. But yeah, I mean, it's a somewhat easy schedule. It's the Colts, the Raiders. Never mind, they're fucked. They could beat the Jaguars and maybe the Vikings on a good day, but they're not beating the Raiders. I don't see them beating the Raiders at all, so yeah. They're fucked. I say they're out. But as for the Texans, Bill, the Texans are in this. However, they have a tying record with the Titans. At the end of the year, when they face, I'm telling you, that's going to probably be Sunday Night Football. If not, Washington and New York, which that one seems just as likely. But the Titansville, as long as if they can't keep up with the Titans, they could win and still not make the playoffs, which the Texans have to play the Jaguars at home and then the Bengals at home. Very winnable games, even if the Bengals are playing the best spoiler team football right now. I think the Texans can hold them off, like you say, because guess what, Bill? You want to know who I call the MVP of this game, the one who deserved the game ball? Jadeveon Clowney hit Andrew Luck, I think 5 times, got a sack on him, then a strip sack. It was great because people were starting to call him a bust after this game. I was telling you, you would have the best 3-man rush the NFL would have ever seen if you had Watt, Clowney, and Merciless. Because you saw them sack Tom Brady on 3rd down last year with just those 3 alone. because each one demands double coverage. Those three feel like a 5-man pass rush. And that's horrible. So Bill, get J.J. Watt back, and if you can get a better quarterback, or if Brock Osweiler doesn't throw an interception every 5 minutes, because he did throw one today, they could be a Super Bowl team. They could be a Broncos team where they don't win on their offense. The offense just puts enough points where the defense does the rest. That's the key for them. If the Texans on any hope of a Super Bowl, that's what would have to happen, unless Tom Savage comes and starts and plays lights out, which I don't know. I want to believe, though.
Right. He just comes in and is the savior of the offense.
He might be.
Pulls a Tom Brady on the Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, so he could put that money to him instead. But yeah, Bill, I don't have much to say on this game. It was a horrible watch. I could not stand watching it, even when Andrew Luck was on the field, because he was playing bad. I remember everyone's like, "Oh, the Colts are gonna just blow them out 41-3, just like the last week on Monday." And I was kind of thinking of a little bit of a blowout too, but I wouldn't say it would have been that bad. I would have guessed 31-17. But
everyone jumped on that Colts blowing out team's bandwagon.
That's
after
again, I
one good game against a bad team.
Yeah, I think I said it. I don't know if I said it then. It's like when the Cowboys beat the Browns, everyone was excited. Okay, you beat a really bad team who hasn't won a single game. It's like if the Colts blew out the Browns 80-0. Should you really be excited for that? The Browns are a broken, injured team who can't have anything go their way, because it is their destiny, and I hate saying it now, but I'm starting to feel really bad for Browns fans, but they are, it is almost like it's their destiny to go 0-16. And here's the other fun fact. It has been a year now since the Browns won a game. The last quarterback that won them was Johnny Manziel.
So remember when he was a quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah, if only he got his act together, he might have been a decent QB. Anyway,
exactly.
So Bill, I think it's time we move on. Let's move on to what everyone said was the biggest surprise, the Cowboys losing. Because that was apparently bad, because the Cowboys never can lose. They are the perfect team who have zero flaws. And I'll tell you what their flaws are, Bill. I said their secondary. And what lost the Cowboys this game? Their secondary. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, if Dan Bailey didn't miss that field goal, it would be a different game. Yes, it would. And and I could say, yes, you can be mad at Dan Bailey a little bit. This guy has always been your clutch kicker, and he should have got that kick. But you know what? At the end of the day, you would never have been in that situation if your secondary, which I've been stressing was garbage, did their job and covered Odell Beckham. Because every time it's Carr versus Beckham, you know the fate. You know what's going to happen. That happened. Carr let Beckham go, I don't know how many, 60 yards or so, to the end zone and won them the game.
Yeah, it was a really bad coverage. Yeah, I mean, Odell Beckham just outran everyone. He wasn't even touched. That's what's scary about
This is what I hate. That defense, the secondary is so bad, it made him look like Randy Moss.
So true.
So, yeah, everyone's also feeling that the Giants will have a run like they did when they beat the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl. And my favorite thing was the Cowboys fans trying to justify it. They were talking about Patriots fans laughing at Cowboys, which, as to my knowledge, I didn't see any. I mean, you could maybe make a case that I am, but to be fair, I've been criticizing this defense for years now. You have too. We are not the first, and we are not the last. And it's not like I hate the Cowboys. I've just been stressing, if they're going to lose, it's because of their secondary. And why did they lose this game? Because of their secondary. Last time they lost was because Terrence Williams didn't go out of bounds. This time, you can't blame Terrence Williams. He was all alone in the end zone, got an easy touchdown. After that, the Giants fixed their defense, and they were making turnovers. Because it wasn't just Eli Manning throwing 20 picks a game. It was also, you had Dak Prescott throw a pick. I believe Ezekiel Elliott or someone fumbled the ball. It was never good for the. It was never good. This was a really bad game for the Cowboys. This really hurts their MVP cases too, which honestly I'm okay with because yeah, I mean if they're gonna win because they're Cowboys, sure. But
Right now,
what Bill?
right now, that offense has regressed, and
Because a
the
blueprint came out. The Vikings put out a blueprint how to beat them with the defense, and then the Washington football team put a blueprint on how to beat them to beat them offensively.
and you put together, and good lord, that's a blueprint to beat them in the
And
playoffs.
all of a
You know,
sudden, these next two games feel so crucial now for the Cowboys. All you needed to do was beat the Giants, and you would have not only secured your division, you would have also secured home field advantage. But now you have to win two games to get both. Because the Lions are on your ass now, and if the Lions beat you, which I say they are, I think that it's going to shape things differently. Now, that's not to say that I don't think the Cowboys are going to lose their home field advantage. They're going to get it. They just need to win the Buccaneers and the Eagles, which is easy, if you ask me, especially the Eagles, because the Eagles are garbage. The Buccaneers, sure, their defense is playing much better, and I think they are playoff team killers. They killed the Chargers' chances of getting into the playoffs a couple weeks ago. And then the week before that, you beat Seattle, making it difficult for them to even secure a bye now because the Seahawks didn't do their job and got blown out by the Packers. Thank you, Russell Wilson. Thank you for becoming the new Tony Romo. Turnovers for everybody. But
and I mean,
what, Bill?
I'm just put this out there is that uh, you know, the way to beat the Dallas Cowboys is to take away Ezekiel Elliott. That's how you beat them.
It's not
You
just
take
that.
away
I think the
Zeke.
other key is that you also blitz Dak Prescott with different reads, surprise him so he doesn't know how to react. There were a lot of plays where some rusher came in open, so he had to throw the ball away or get sacked.
Right. I mean, and that way he's not sliding protections either, and audibling at the line.
They were throwing him different blitz covers almost every drive, and that's why this game was such a defensive slugfest. I mean, the only reason it feels like a defensive slugfest is because that Giants offense has been a mess. And I still think that's what's going to kill them in the playoffs. The fact that they can't put many drives and that Eli Manning has a weaker arm now. So yeah, the Giants could still make the playoffs, but I think they're going to get blown out either in the divisional round or the wild card. I can't see them making it to the NFC Championship. But if they do, I will not be surprised if they beat the Cowboys because they've had their number twice this year. They are their kryptonite. They are the Lex Luthor of the Cowboys. That's just all I got to say about that because if those two play in the playoffs, I might just pick the Giants because I think they're the only team who could legit beat Dallas in 3 games in a year. Like even the Lions, Bill, I could see a 2-3 like a 2 out of 3 win split. I think that the Cowboys will beat the Lions at some point, maybe once or twice. It's like one of them's a toss up for me. But you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
I can see the Giants do it 3 times in a row now because they have their number. They figured out how to break Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, and they won't share their secrets publicly, but you just got to look at the tape and you'll see what they are saying. The tape will tell you everything you need to know on how to beat those two. So, yeah. I will not be surprised if the Bucks, Lions, and whoever they play in the playoffs start taking ideas and plays that the Giants incorporated into this game. Because it worked, and I don't know if those two will get over it so quickly. Maybe next season they'll surpass that, but I don't know if they'll pass it this season. There's not enough time. But anyway, Bill, anything else to say on this game?
it was a really lackluster game. So I mean, it was only a 10-7 game. There
Don't tell
wasn't
Alan
really.
Chris that, because this is what they wanted. They wanted the NFC East to be great, and now they get it.
I I I thought it was a slog to watch, and I enjoy Alan Chris on commentary, but a 10-7 game, if it was 21-17, that's more exciting to me. At least uh, more than a 10-7 game. I mean, I love good defensive struggles, but
Well, to me, this was a
really it
bad
wasn't.
offense and a good
Yeah,
defense.
it was two bad offenses that couldn't move the football, fighting each other. And I mean,
So you mean to tell me this is
overall,
like if the Browns played the San Francisco 49ers? This is what we'd see.
oh my God, probably. I don't know what would happen in that
Alright, Bill,
scenario.
then let's move on to an actual good game, because this game got better once halftime was over. I'm talking the Patriots and the Ravens. This one could have been that one game that could have shocked everyone if just one thing went right for the Ravens. They actually could have tied this game or just stole it outright from the Patriots, but no. What does Tom Brady do? He continues his MVP case once again with a 79-yard pass to Hogan. I mean, sure, Amendola was out, but you know what, Bill? I will not be surprised if Amendola and or Julian Edelman are going to be cut next year, because I feel like we have their replacements already in Hogan and Mitchell. The,
Very
each
possible.
of them caught a touchdown pass, and while Gronk was missing, it felt like he was there all along, because Martellus Bennett pretty much filled in his role. They did not change their schemes at all, and you know this to me, this was a very fun game, because even though the Ravens didn't do shit on offense, it was thanks to their special teams with those two muffed punts, which I get the feeling their punt kit returner is gonna get cut after this. But I see that if things were just a little different, these Ravens would probably have, I wouldn't say probably would have won, but they could have stolen this one. But I thought it was a fun game from the third quarter beyond, because that first half, unless you're a Patriots fan, that was either boring or just it was just a slaughter. It looked like the Patriots were gonna just blow them out 44-6, and then and then you would have heard Roger Goodell talk, "Oh shit, I think the Patriots cheated." Actually, no, Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh would have said it first, and then Roger Goodell would get on it, because Harbaugh likes to call out people, especially the Patriots. Him and Tomlin hate the Patriots for good reason, because they always stand in their way. But yeah,
Exactly.
Bill, let me just tell you how the first quarter went. Safety, touchdown. To me, that set the tone of the whole game, because from the get
Yeah.
go, you knew that the Ravens had little chance to get to the end zone unless literally special teams helped them out. Because on defense, the up until the up until the end of the game, where the Patriots lost two of their secondary players, including Malcolm Butler, which that's a bit of a scare for me. It felt like that the Ravens never stood a chance for that first half. Like, any hope of doing anything was either undone by Joe Flacco's turnovers or just really bad throws from him. I feel like he was literally throwing the game away in the first half.
And Joe Flacco in the first half was having all sorts of struggles. I mean, he he was missing some throws as well. He was missing some throws pretty badly too. I mean, but
Yeah,
overall, the biggest surprise is the Baltimore running back situation. Terrence West, the more pure passer, pure passer, pure rusher, uh, was kind of benched almost, and they went with
he used to
Kenneth
play for
Dixon.
Houston, right?
Uh,
It was him or Philip Dorsett, one of them. I think it was no. If it, well, I asked because I remember one of them left Houston to go to Baltimore,
I'm pretty sure Aaron's West.
Well, if that's the case, looks like the Texans saw something because now he's looking to be a dud in Baltimore. Baltimore needs help with the run game. And remember,
Uh,
I think the Ravens actually wanted to trade with the Cowboys to take Jalen Ramsey. You know, I wouldn't have been surprised if they took Ezekiel Elliott too, because if they had him, I think they would probably be 9-4 like the Lions are right now. Because I think they really do need that run game on offense. If they had a good run game, I think this team would be stealing. They would be running away with the AFC North. Because I think they'd be so much better as long as they had a run game. And I would dare say that this game would be a lot closer than you think. But
if
that's what happens. You don't have a run game, especially come playoff time. It is really hard to steal some games. So that's my only little red flag for the Lions. But to me, I'm not afraid because I assume that by then they will have had Amir Abdullah back, and that's their missing piece. That's the piece to their offense. But yeah. Other than that, Bill, I mean, I feel like the Patriots have a legit shot at the Super Bowl, but I feel like the loss of Gronk will soon, at some point, be too heavy. But because you have Martellus Bennett, you could basically kind of replace him for a bit. But that means Hogan and Mitchell, LeGarrette Blount, who's playing great, by the way, they have to all step up and just make up for his absence. If that
I
don't
mean,
work, they are not winning a Super Bowl this year. At least that's what I think.
they still have Deion Lewis, uh, James White. They still have a lot of weapons.
I think this
left.
is their best run game since 2004. And that's a
Yeah,
long time since
definitely.
when has Brady had a consistent good run game? It's been
With
too
the
long.
Patriots back in the 2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that's hard to believe, but anyway, I think that's all we could talk about with the Patriots. I mean, I will say, counting among games they've won, this was probably the best one to watch because the best game that I watched was against the Seahawks, and that was a loss to them. But among games they won, this is by far their best because it got closer for once. But yeah, anyway, Bill, before we go on to the picks, I want to talk about some things like what the rest of the things that happened last in last week's games. So first, Bill, let's get the big one out of the way. Jeff Fisher is gone. No more 7-9 for the Rams. I mean, I think they're pretty much going to lose out at this rate. But Bill, what do you think about the firing? Was it overdue, or was it now the right time? I think it's overdue.
I thought it was overdue, but to be fair, that owner I have no respect for, and I don't like him. So I really don't care what happens to the Rams. Obviously, I hope that they go 4-12 every year that they're in Los Angeles because then they'll be a laughing stock in that city and no one will go watch them. And that'll teach them for leaving the fans in St. Louis high and dry, and that owner is a piece of garbage.
It was
I hope they go.
I think it was a hasty move. It's like as soon as you heard they were going to move, they already had the bags packed.
I mean, I hope they go 4-12 for at least a decade, and then they can marginally increase to 5-11 for another decade. Because I honestly don't want to see that franchise win for a very long time. And I'm glad that they're on a coaching hunt. I'm glad that Jared Goff is not performing well.
I'm not
Because
glad.
Case
I like
Keenum was
Goff.
the better.
I like Goff and
Case
I like
Keenum was
Gurley.
the
I think they're great. But
But Case Keenum was the better starter for that team
oh yeah, but remember,
this year.
I don't think that this coaching staff was right for him. Like again, if the Texans did what I wanted them to do at the beginning last year and just lose all their games and get the early pick in the draft, I say they should have gotten Jared Goff. Because why? I think because Bill O'Brien can coach up some quarterbacks. I mean, not Brock Osweiler because he's uncoachable, but not counting him, you were able to get Hoyer, Mallett, Whedon and Yates to get 100-yard games with DeAndre Hopkins. If that could happen, I think Jared Goff, who is a gunslinger, can work in spreading the ball around, giving it to Hopkins, giving it to Miller, giving it to Fedorowicz, giving it to just spreading the ball all around, making it a. I would like to think that's similar to how his West Coast team coaching would be. Honestly, you know where I think Goff would be a little bit better in, and this is going to surprise you, Bill. The 49ers. I know they really wanted him. But you know why I think it would work? Because Chip Kelly's spread the ball and system and all that would fit. It's a West Coast type of system for a West Coast kind of West Coast type of player. So that would be almost not a match made in heaven, but it would have been a good enough match. Whereas this team always played great defense and run game, which is predictable considering they are talentless everywhere else.
Fisher.
It's one thing if you have unlike the Broncos case or the Chiefs case, where they have at least Travis Kelce, Demaryius Thomas, you have players like those to consider. What do the Rams have on wide receiver side? They have what? Tavon Austin? That's not intimidating.
Who is a first round bust?
Yeah. And then they still paid him a lot of money when they should have paid I forget his name. I think his last name is Cooks. Cooks, I don't know.
In Cooks.
You should have, because he's playing better. It's like maybe you should have given him that money instead. I don't think he'd be a number one wide receiver, but he could be a really good number two or slot. But okay, it's bad choices. But yeah, it was. I think that was overdue. But next, let's stay on the Californian coast because Oakland has passed. The city of Oakland yesterday actually has unanimously agreed to fund their new stadium so they can stay in Oakland. Now the NFL might oppose this still, but here's the thing. They're meeting today, but I don't think they're going to decide on it yet. The decisions for all that will be made on January 2nd, the day after the regular season ends. However, if Oakland is going to make the playoffs because Oakland just needs to win one more game, which I think they're going to do this week, as long as they're in the playoffs, they cannot make that decision. I mean, it's obvious, you know why. You can't tell a team to move while they're still playing games, you know?
Yeah, what incentive would there be for the crowd to go to that game?
Exactly.
Hey, your Oakland Raiders made the playoffs. They're moving to Las Vegas. So the Las Vegas Raiders are in the playoffs. Go support your Las Vegas Raiders there, Oakland crowd. No one would show up.
As long as the Raiders make a playoff spot, and I think if they win a game or two, I think that alone will just tell the owners, no, let's not make them move. We can make them stay because, look, it's one thing if the city of Oakland, I should say. I need to not mix those up. It's one thing if the city of Oakland still has said, no, we don't know if we're going to make them stay or not, then that's fine to make that vote. I disagree with it heavily, and I don't want them to do it, but it's a fair reason because, look, that city is in deadlock or they're just against it. That's why we're voting. But now they've already unanimously agreed to this, by the way. So what other reason? Because, Bill, like I said, with the Warriors being the most overhyped NBA team ever, and I mean they could still very much win a championship. I don't think they will. I still got my Spurs, which I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a.
Right.
I'm still hoping for a Pistons Spurs rematch, but different players and all that. But yeah, it's beside the point. But then you have the Raiders next to them. That means, guess what? Now Oakland is the hub city for both basketball, a rejuvenated basketball at that, and a soon-to-be rejuvenated NBA or NFL. So what reason do you have to move them when you turn Oakland, just by keeping them there, into one of the most thriving sports cities in the country, not just California, but the whole country? I don't see why they'll move them if that happens.
I mean, it really since the city of Oakland is going to pay for it, I don't see that they're going to move at all. Because that's exactly what Mark Davis wants.
And he's going to get it now.
He doesn't. he doesn't want to rent out that stadium anymore. And, he's got his own stadium now. Now he doesn't have to deal with that sort of stuff. Now he can concentrate on keeping the Raiders in Oakland. And if they do move to Las Vegas, still, that'll be a crying shame.
That'll piss off NFL fans in general, because now the truth is out there that the city already accepted it. They already agreed to pay for it. So at that point, it'll look like a PR move to get attention to the NFL. Like, look, our newest franchise in Las Vegas, go watch. But people will know, hey, that was Oakland's franchise, and you made them move when they already said that they were going to build a stadium there. We know your tricks, NFL. But anyway, speaking of tricks and stupid shit by the NFL, Bill, let's talk Deflategate. I bet you thought we were done with it, but no, we're not. Well, we're done with the New England side of it, but now Deflategate 2 has appeared, and guess what? Nobody's talking about it. Isn't that funny?
Deflategate 2, the deflating. Oh, man.
Deflategate 2, because the Giants told the NFL, apparently not officially, even though if you tell a cop, hey, this person committed a crime, technically that's the thing, oh, you didn't officially tell a cop, you just told a cop, because that has to be different somehow. Anyway, but that's beside the point. The Giants told the NFL that the Steelers were giving them underdeflated footballs. So, now you might be saying, Josh, why are you caring about this? Weren't you against Deflategate because you said the Patriots didn't do anything of it? Yes, I still think they didn't do it. But here's the thing. It's not how these teams are reacting to it. It's how the NFL is. Now, if the NFL was acting like they were last time with the Patriots, I wouldn't be saying anything bad. It's like, okay, they're showing consistency. Consistency is what I asked for, and they're not doing it. They say, this is probably nothing. We're not going to do anything about it. Maybe we'll look into it a bit quietly in the off-season. It's like, hey, don't pay attention to this Deflategate 2. Instead, look at if Oakland moves or not, or if San Diego moves or not. Look at that. Look at that. That's more important. It's brighter news. A little bit brighter. It's brighter for everybody except the people in the state of California. So every other state, look at this. Don't look at that. So yeah.
Exactly.
The NFL and Goodell aren't doing shit about this. And if they do, it's going to be quietly in the off season and just say, oh, here's a $250,000 fine on the owner, and we'll take your compensatory 7th round pick. Yeah, that'll teach you not to do it again. Yeah, that'll teach you. But the Patriots, oh, what's this? Tom Brady might have, but we don't even have any definitive proof. How dare you? $1 million fine, taking away your 1st round pick and your 2nd round pick. And we're suspending him for 4 games because we don't want him to win a Super Bowl. Okay. You see my point? My point is that I don't like how they're not even trying to do anything. Why? Because they're not the Patriots. Because the Patriots have always taken the limelight away from other teams. Because they've taken the Seahawks thunder, taken the Rams thunder, taken the Panthers thunder, and I forget the other team they beat.
The Philadelphia Eagles and Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens.
Oh yeah, that. So yeah, you've taken all those teams' shots at glory. And the NFL's like, you've enjoyed that limelight for too long, so we're going to get in your way by saying you're cheaters. And all that. And by the way, it's not to say Pittsburgh is innocent, but to be fair, no team is innocent. Every team has committed acts of cheating. I mentioned that the Falcons a couple years ago did their volume, making artificial crowd noise in a Steelers game. And speaking of the Steelers are no better. Remember in the Thanksgiving game a couple of years ago against the Ravens? What did Mike Tomlin do, Bill? Do you remember what he did?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he tried tripping someone down the sideline.
So he couldn't score a touchdown. He interfered with the play. He got, I think, a few game suspension, but that's about it. So yeah, I know there are Pittsburgh fans. Go ahead. If you love your Steelers, go ahead. That's fair. But just don't deny when your team has committed acts of cheating. Because I'll tell you, Spygate was cheating. For the Patriots, that was a cheating moment. I'm not going to deny that. We know that's a fact. But in this one, with the case of Deflategate, there's not even any definitive proof. And anything that Ted Wells has presented has been already debunked by other sports analysts. And hell, just look up, if you want someone who could debunk it all, go look up Moonlight Swami Deflategate, and he'll break it down for all of you. But anyway, Bill, the last on the last are in terms of actual games. Well, Bill, I'm gonna be honest. I I'm shocked. I mean, I couldn't have been more wrong with my Bills pick against the Steelers because Le'Veon Bell, Bill, I feel like that could be Offensive Player of the Year because he scored more, not scored, he put up more yards than the entire Bills offense. And here's the thing, people are demanding that Rex Ryan be fired. Do you think he should? I mean, I don't think he should because from the beginning he lost a lot. He lost all his rookies and he lost some star players too. And he's 6-7 with the broken team.
I mean, it's hard to say.
It's like saying,
no.
would you fire Jason Garrett last year for 4-12, even though you lost Tony Romo and all your defense? You know what I mean?
Well,
And same with Harbaugh. Can you fault a coach when you lose all your best players? That's my question.
See, I would definitely keep him around. I mean, they're close. That team overachieved a couple of years ago. And anyway, to be fair, they're close, but they're not there yet. They have a few more years of building to go, and then that Bills team is going to be a beast, a scary, scary winner.
Yeah, but to me, their problem is their owner. He is impatient. He is very impatient, and I don't like that. And I think if he's fired, it's because the owner just wants a Super Bowl now because he couldn't get a Super Bowl 4 years straight. You had 4 tries and you couldn't even do it once. But anyway, that's beside the point. I don't think he should get fired. I think out of all the coaches that are on the hot seat, I don't think his is the most justified. And that's because I don't even like Rex Ryan as a person, let alone as a coach. But I can see what he had to do this much with what little he had. But to be fair, LaShawn McCoy is pretty much the whole reason they're 6-7, if you ask me at least. But anyway, the other thing to note, Bill, is I don't think Tannehill is out for the year because he didn't tear his ACL like first thought. He sprained his knee, but I think that injury, because he's gonna miss a game or two. I think that injury is what knocks the Dolphins out of the playoff hunt, which is unfortunate because they look like a playoff team or just a young team finally getting over the hump to get on the rise. And for what? Just to all crash down on one of the penultimate games of the year. And coming up against division teams in games that I would say are must-wins. So, that's unfortunate. I think it would have been fun if it were the Dolphins, because guess what that meant? No Denver Broncos. Which, honestly, it's not even impossible. It's not impossible.
I still don't think Denver's getting in. They're just not a good team.
On offense, at least.
Not on offense. Their offense is stagnant.
Although I will say something about the Broncos. I don't know if you were there, you saw it, but did you see that fight between the Titans and the Broncos players with Aqib Talib?
No, I did not.
I'll explain what happened. So Aqib Talib got in a fight with the Titans player because of what that Titans player did. I forget his name. Anyway, what he did, and that it was like a chop block.
Yes, okay, I remember.
He
that.
chop blocked
Yes,
one of the Broncos players during a run play. He chop blocked him and tripped him, and he landed on his helmet. I don't know if he got a concussion or anything, but Aqib took that personally, attacking one of your players. And I'm not a fan of Aqib Talib, but that's just because he's a Bronco. But I see that as justified. You're defending your friend, and that guy that was a dirty play. And if he don't get a fine, I really do have to ask Goodell, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? Are you spending your time and resources on trying to see if every little inch Brady moves, if that makes him a cheater or not? Or are you going to get players to pay the penalty for actual dirty plays? Because, look, if you want me to give you the dirty teams of this year, I will always say the Bengals because they have Vontaze Burfict in it, the Rams because their players are undisciplined, and then I'll have to add the Titans who are almost just as undisciplined. If you don't believe me, look at that Lions game they were in, because so many flags on both teams. Like, at that rate, the field would have been covered in yellow if it went into overtime. But That was horrible in the fight. I don't blame Aqib Talib. Should he have punched him? No, but you know what? When that guy's being a little shit, I'm not gonna get too upset for you. I mean, if I were a ref or a judge or they have to give out a fine, yeah, I'm giving you a fine still. That's my job. But you know, I wouldn't hold anything against you because that was a horrible play by a horrible player. And honestly, Bill, I would be fine if the Texans got into the playoffs just for that reason, just so dirty players like him can't be seen ever in primetime games.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bill, it is time. Are you ready for the picks?
Indeed.
Let's get started with Thursday night.
Right, is the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks.
Look, Jeff Fisher isn't even the coach anymore, so I can't say this will be close at all. I'm going to go with the Seahawks to blow out the Rams. And everyone is back onto the Seahawks bandwagon after they lost.
Comes a blowout in epic proportions. It is going to be Seahawks. They are going to come into this game mad. All right, Saturday game, the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets.
All right, Bill, this is interesting because it's very, very likely that we won't be seeing Ryan Tannehill. So I want to know, where does your pick stand? Are you going to switch to the Jets because they don't have Tannehill?
You know how. I'm going the Miami Dolphins easily defeating the New York Jets. The Jets can't play offense.
Yeah.
And have no defense.
I think they won their last game of the year. I mean, I'm glad it was an OT win in San Fran, but still, I don't see them coming out of this as well. I think Matt Moore will do just enough for them to win. They're just going to be leaning a lot on Jay Ajayi, so I'm going to go with the Dolphins for that.
All right, next up, I've got the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears.
All right, Bill, it's time. It's upset. It's going to happen sooner or later, and why not now? The Bears going to go 4-10 and just ruin the Packers' chances at getting in the playoffs.
That Bears defense is getting good. And Jordan Howard's on a run all over this Packers team. I've got the Bears as well.
I hope it snows because everyone says Rodgers plays well in the snow. Well, guess what? These Bears have been playing well in the snow, just as good as them. Well, on the ground at least.
Oh man, here we go. The Cleveland Browns at the Buffalo Bills.
Well, Buffalo really needed games to win so they could stay in the playoff hunt. While they're not mathematically eliminated, but still. I have the Buffalo Bills shutting out the Browns.
McCoy's on a run for over 200 yards. I got the Buffalo Bills. Next up, Philadelphia Eagles at the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm going to go with the Ravens. The Ravens are going to need to win after getting an ugly loss to the Patriots. And this is a bird fight. And I think the Ravens are going to prove to be the superior bird this time around.
Ravens, they're just a better team than the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
In every phase. So, next up, the Tennessee Titans at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Bill, you want to talk upset of the week? I got one for you. After just beating Oakland so mercilessly, I think the Chiefs are going to lay an egg. Because come on, you've lost to Tampa Bay before we realized Tampa Bay was good. So I think they are due to just lay an egg, try to come back, but they won't. Because you know why? The Titans are going to get a chop block on Alex Smith and wipe him out of the game. So I'm going with the Titans.
The Chiefs are a for real defense. And that offense will do just enough against the Titans' defense. All right, so next, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals.
I've got Pittsburgh. It's no question. No questions asked. Without AJ Green, these guys have no hope. And to be honest, they could shut him down anyway. So I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. I mean. The Bengals' defense is horrible. Next, the Detroit Lions at the New York Giants.
Everyone's putting so much stock into the Giants, but I still stand by what I said. Winter is coming. It will come for the Giants because I have the Lions winning this one in the fourth quarter.
Lions winning this game. Uh, and I think Eli Manning's going to throw a few
You want to
interceptions.
know a fun fact, Bill? You want to know the last time the Lions have played a game outdoors? Do you want to take a guess as to which game that was?
Earlier this year, Green Bay.
No, Chicago. Week 4.
Yeah. Wow. Damn.
That's crazy.
Oh man. So next up, the Indianapolis Colts at the Minnesota
The
Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings are going to eliminate the Colts from the playoff hunt, and Andrew Luck is going to be playing for nothing. I have the Vikings sacking Andrew Luck 4 times, picking him off twice with another pick six. The Vikings defense is going to put more points than the offense ever will.
Vikings. The Colts are that New York Jets game was just an anomaly. The Vikings are going to hold them in check. Next up, Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans.
I'm going with Houston. I'm not stupid as much as I'd love for them to lose all their games. I'm not stupid. The Texans are going to win up against a really bad Jaguars team. And as I said the last time these two played, I'm going to pick it again. Gus Bradley's going to get fired.
I've got Houston. They're going to dominate on all phases of the game.
I hope
Next,
Jadeveon Clowney gets 3 sacks on Blake Bortles.
next up, the New Orleans Saints at the Arizona Cardinals.
Fun fact: the Cardinals actually cut Michael Floyd, which is I'm not surprised because he's just been playing bad this year. But you know what? I think it's fine. I think Larry Fitzgerald is going to win this game in overtime against the Saints.
Arizona Cardinals easily winning against the Saints. They're going to play really upset. Next up, the San Francisco 49ers at the Atlanta Falcons.
They are going into the Hornets' nest because I have the Falcons not only shutting out the 49ers, but they're going to put up 49 points against them.
Agreed. They're going to stomp the 49ers. They're going to just absolutely stomp
Fun
them.
fact, they absolutely manhandled the Rams last week without Julio Jones or Mohamed Sanu. That speaks to the level of this offense.
Yeah, the Falcons are just going to crush the 49ers. Next up, the Oakland Raiders at the San Diego Chargers.
Joey Bosa is out with a concussion, so their defense just got a lot weaker, and I'm going to go with the Raiders securing a playoff spot.
Raiders defeating the Chargers. The Chargers are just riddled with injuries. The New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos.
Now then, they don't have Peyton Manning, so no viable quarterback who knows where and where not to throw. Trevor Siemian is not a bad quarterback, but this team is just so off on offense, and without no run game, I'm going to go with the Patriots. Sure, Von Miller may go to Tom Brady, but here's a fun fact. Do you want to know the last time Tom Brady got a sack from because of one of his offensive linemen? Week 10. And another fun fact, the left guard has not given up a sack at all. That's incredible. So this line is playing so much better, and half of them are still rookies. So yeah, going with the Patriots.
I'm all with the Patriots. They're just a better team than the Broncos, and I think the Patriots defense is vastly different than the Broncos, but obviously you have a Hall of Fame quarterback. I just gotta go with that. All right, so the Sunday night game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Dallas
I really
Cowboys.
wish they flexed the Giants-Lions game instead, but fine. Doubt the Lions, that's okay. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I know the Bucks are super frisky, and I love that because I want my Mike Evans, Jameis Winston Pro Bowl duo. But it's fine. This is gonna be a good game, hopefully, and I'm gonna go with the Cowboys securing a play. I'm securing a bye in their division this week.
I'm calling the Buccaneers the Cowboys Junior. They're built very similarly, but I just gotta go with the Cowboys. You know, they're going to beat the Buccaneers, but it's going to be a close
You
game.
know what they
I
say,
think
Bill?
this.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Really look at their team, Jameis Winston, Dak Prescott, similar. You know, Mike Evans, Des Bryant, similar. Defense, front line is better with the
Well, the only thing
Buccaneers.
I'll say is that Mike Evans can secure a catch better than Dez ever will.
All right, so the Monday night game, the Carolina Panthers at the Washington football team.
I'm going to go with the Washington football team. I need them in the playoffs. I think they are crucial, and I really do want to see a Washington Cowboys rematch in the playoffs. It's going to happen because the the Washington football team are going to blow out the Panthers the way the Panthers blew out the Chargers.
Washington football team. Carolina is dead in the water. They're done.
Yep. Well, Thursday game because next week is Christmas week, Bill, and all the games but two will be on Christmas Eve, Saturday.
Hold on. All right, here we go. It is the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm calling up. This is my upset of the week for next week. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. I said winter is coming for the Giants, and it shall come. It will reap their heads, and they will be desperate to get a playoff spot. They are choking. Who do you got,
The
Bill?
Giants, but that's subject to change after this week.
Yep. All right then. So I think that'll do it for this week, Bill. Do you have anything else to say?
I think I'm good.
All right then. We will see you on the week of Christmas. See you guys then.